Hello, my name is Jenna Bosiger, and you're watching Cryptids on this episode called California Cryptids. And if you like this topic and want to hear more like it, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the bell. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. In this episode, I wanted to combine not only the Native American legends and names and descriptions and pictographs of the giant Bigfoots, but also major local sightings like the Patterson-Gimlin footage of Bigfoot, and also the early reports of people finding giant skeletons in California. All of these things in California, and see if there are any similarities or comparisons that we can make. And there definitely are. So in this episode, I'm going to be looking at California, especially Northern California, has a very rich history of giant Bigfoots. And the most well-known pictograph of a Sasquatch is by the Northern California Hoopa tribe, and they call him the Oma, or hairy giant. And basically, miles away from that, you have the Patterson-Gimlin video of Patty from Bluff Creek, which is right next to the pictograph of the hairy man by the Hoopas. And there's reports of giants being found all over California, but all of these, there's so much information about these things on the internet, but they're scattered all over in little bits that you have to do different searches for. And so I'm trying to pull them all together. So much information there. And I keep uncovering more as I go along because it's not all organized in one place. The newspaper clippings, all coming from California, of people finding giants, skeletons, and burial sites of giants all over California. From the Channel Islands, Lompoc, Santa Barbara, Los Angeles, Death Valley, Yosemite, Santa Monica, San Francisco. Let's start with the Martindale mummies. They were discovered in 1885 in California's Yosemite Valley. A group of miners led by G.F. Martindale found the remains of a woman nearly 7 feet tall, still holding a mummified child in a cave behind a wall of rock. These mummies are currently the property of Ripley's Museum. Now let's talk about the Native American legends of the giants from that very same area. I got this from a book, The Mysterious Origins of Hybrid Man, Crossbreeding and the Unexpected Family Tree of Humanity, paperback November 2nd, 2013. The people indigenous to the Yosemite region when whites arrived were the Awenatchee. The Awenatchee tribe folklore relates to a story of giants called the Uwellan, who came into the Yosemite Valley many years before the white men. The Uwellan, like the Setika of Nevada, were claimed to have been cannibalistic giants who ate the meat of the Indians. Uwellan would catch the adults and cut them into bite-sized pieces, hanging their meat in the sun to dry into jerky. Interesting how here they say they catch the adult males because they always talk about them catching babies, just to, I don't know. It's like the worst thing you can do is eat someone's baby, right? So it's almost makes me question it, just because throughout history you hear about that accusation of eating babies, and it's usually just said by an enemy to make you think the worst of someone. Like witches ate babies. You really want to get someone to hate somebody and say they ate babies. And then people are like, oh, okay, you killed them, that's fine. That's what was justified then. Okay, the Awenatchees finally killed the giants and burned their bodies. The Awenatchee believed to be extinct or fully assimilated and no longer exist as a tribal entity. You need to burn the bodies. The legend may or may not be relative to the ancient humans who inhabited the Yosemite prior to the Amerindians, an example of which is the Martindale mummies. Giant skeletons found on coast, Los Angeles, California, July 18th. William Derbyshire, Jack Stoneberger of Chicago, and Robert Derbyshire of Santa Monica contractors have unearthed the skeleton of a gigantic prehistoric man at Santa Monica Beach. The skeleton was over 9 feet in height. Hard work uncovered 13 more similar skeletons. 3 perfect specimens were brought to Santa Monica for exhibition, and scientists who examined them say they undoubtedly are hundreds of years old. The skulls have the formation of an Indian head with high cheekbones and other pronounced characteristics. In every case, the teeth are practically intact. And you hear this mentioned a lot with the finding of these skeletons, double rows of teeth and teeth that are in perfect condition. And it makes me think of another animal that has double rows of teeth, and that is a shark. And the reason they have double rows of teeth is because when one goes bad or when they break one, another one just grows right in to fill it in. And I wonder if that's why these giants are always found with perfect teeth and double rows of teeth. It might have been some kind of system of replacing bad teeth. The Santa Monica Oakland Tribune, June 10th, 1912. Bones of giant found in the South. Best preserved skeleton of the extinct tribe hauled from the Channel. They're talking about the Channel Islands. Up to 300 years ago, a race of giant Indians inhabited the coastal regions of California. Remains of these have been discovered on the islands of Santa Barbara Channel. To William Altman, assistant curator of the Golden Gate Park Museum, belongs the honor of discovering one of the tallest and best preserved skeletons of this extinct tribe. The giant skeleton was found 10 feet from the surface and it was around a large number of mortars and pestles, charm stones, and obsidian arrowheads. One of the skeletons measured 7 feet 4 inches. Many of the large skeleton remains were found in the Channel Islands on or near the coast. The case for the Calaveras skull. This is the earliest known picture of the Calaveras skull taken before all the original matrix surrounding the skull was removed. The Calaveras skull was found in 1866 at Bald Hill near Angels Camp in Calaveras County, California. The original photo dates between 1866 and 1868 when the skull was transported to Cambridge, Massachusetts, and there thoroughly cleaned and examined scientifically. The skull had been embedded in an auriferous, gold-bearing, tertiary gravel adjacent to the petrified log. This would place the time of the skull before the commencement of the Pleistocene and long before the accepted time of man's arrival on Earth, according to evolutionary geology. In 1896, a 15-year-old boy named Ralph Glidden moved to Catalina Island with his family. He first found his first human skull on San Nicolas Island and then became obsessed with amateur archaeology, and he went to numerous excavations to uncover burial sites on Catalina Island between 1919 and 1928. And during these excavations, he alleged 800 secret burial sites around the island and a myriad of Indian artifacts and relics, as well as ancient native remains. He sold to museums and collectors. He was being funded, and then his funding was cut off in 1924, and he just basically sold everything to private collectors. He claims overwhelmingly proof that a fair-skinned, fair-haired, highly intelligent race of great stature lived on Catalina Island off the southwest coast of California, perhaps 3,000 years ago. His excavation of a huge cache of skeletons, domestic utensils, urns, and etc. is quite out of the ordinary class of Indian discoveries. Glidden himself would eventually sell his entire collection of artifacts and remains for $5,000 in 1962. The museum was scary, very scary. Bones piled up all over the place. One skull had a light in it. There are those who have used the purported discoveries to bolster their own theories, in particular hollow earth conspiracists who had their heyday in the 19th and early 20th century and more or less believe that there is a whole other world existing under us, which can be accessed through several portals located throughout the world. Okay, I guess I classify as one of those people. At the time of Glidden's discoveries, it was speculated by hollow earth theorists that one of these portals might be found on Catalina Island, and that the giants had been tasked as guardians of the gateway. So prevalent was this idea that several expeditions were made to the so-called hollow earthers in 1920s, but it is unknown what they found, if anything. That's very interesting because I I've been thinking and saying this for a very long time, and I never heard any kind of connection about Catalina having a portal to the underground, but it makes complete sense to me, and I hope it's true, because if there's any chance of the giants or Bigfoot having survived, then they would have had to gone underground. And that's what I've found in my personal Bigfoot research, is that Bigfoot are living underground. That's where they sleep, and they have people who guard the entrances of these undergrounds, and that's how they have avoided detection, is by remaining underground and intentionally hiding their existence from us. So I touched upon a lot of these reports of news articles of giant skeletons being found all over California, and I haven't left any time for the Native American reports. But don't worry, because I've already got the other one in progress, and so it's just a matter of finishing it up and doing those comparisons between the giants, the skulls and the skeletons of giants found in California, and the reports of Native Americans, Bigfoot, and giant encounters. Stay tuned for the next episode, and if you like this one, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the bell, and I appreciate it very much. Thanks. Bye.